All right.
So, Ryan, wait a minute, what is this? Ryan, what the heck?
This is our van.
Oh,
You know what this is.
I guess it is our van. Why do we have a van?
Because we're touring the country in a van for our book, Curse Words.
Oh, who puts out curse words?
Image Comics.
Yeah, and the first volume of that just came out very recently, so we decided to drive all around the country to tell people about it and show people about it, right?
Yeah. And that's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a stuffed koala. And that's you.
Getting blamoed.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I take it back.
Anyway, yeah, so we're driving all over the place, having a great time. And today's stop is at H.A.T.E Comics in Muncie, where I think we're going to talk about our pull list, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go talk about our pull list, huh?
All right, pull it.
Charles Soule. This is Ryan Browne. We are the co-creators of the incredible image comic Curse Words, and we are here to talk about our pull list at H.A.T.E Comics in Harrison, New York.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
So, Ryan, what's on your pull list today?
Oh, man. The most recent thing is Shaolin Cowboy.
It's going to have to be blurred, that cover.
No. Hold on. I'll hold my fingers differently. Is Shaolin Cowboy from Dark Horse, done by Jeff Darrow and Dave Stewart. Jeff Darrow has been one of my idols for a very long time. I copy a lot of his drawings, which I probably shouldn't say. And he is doing a new Shaolin Cowboy series, which might be ending with issue 4. The last one had 4 issues. And it is the last time we saw Shaolin Cowboy, he was fighting zombies for 4 straight issues. And nothing really progressed in the story, but it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's actually going after Crabman.
Crabman.
And there was a pig with knives and guns, and now they're dogs with knives for feet. So it's everything that I want in a comic.
Yes, that's true. So I grabbed the first trade of Matt Kindt and David Rubin's book, Ether, Death of the Last Golden Blaze. I'm very excited to read this because I'm a huge fan of Matt Kindt's work generally. I think he's one of the most sort of innovative and creative writer-artists in comics today. I believe the premise of this is a scientist is transported to like a fantasy world, a fantasy realm, and he has to try and explain the way magic works using scientific theory and scientific method, which just sounds like everything I want in a comic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's going to be fantastic.
It's like they made that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved Matt's work since this is the first big thing I ever found from him was My Management, which I the real deal. So
But that's a comic where you actually have to think while you read it.
yeah, it is.
You're asking
Hard
a lot.
hard to do.
You're asking a lot.
Have a koala growing out of your head.
Yeah.
Not easy. All right, what's
All
next
right,
on your
here's
list?
my next one. The other one that's currently coming out is Kaiju Max from Oni. It is entirely done by Xander Cannon, who is a genius of storytelling in comics and a genius cartoonist. One of my all-time favorites.
Really nice guy too. Real nice guy.
Super nice person.
Mm-hmm.
And super dedicated to his craft. He does everything on this book. It's really incredible. It is basically your prison fiction, but with giant monsters. So it's Japanese giant monsters. The different monster types all are in different gangs in the prison. So it's got all these amazing, things that you normally see in prison movies and prison TV shows. Really horrifying stuff. Corrupt guards. Unfortunate shower incidents, everything that you want that's super heavily R-rated, but with giant Japanese monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called Kaiju Max. While it does look slightly kid-friendly, it is extremely not kid-friendly.
Yeah, that's true. It's very grown-up.
Which, is now a big selling point because lots of children were trying to read it, and then they read that aforementioned shower scene.
Yeah.
And it made everyone sad. So yes, Kaiju Max. It's one of my favorite comics ever at this point. Absolutely
Very good book.
love it.
Very good comic. No curse words, but it's a very good comic. My next pick off the pull list was All-Star Batman, which is written by Scott Snyder, who I've known for a long time and is a writer I greatly admire. And he's a nice guy, too. They're all nice guys. All the people are nice guys.
Oh, yeah.
All-Star Batman has been a Batman series where he's gotten to work with some of his favorite artists in the business. This issue, I believe, it's Raphael Albuquerque, and it's part of kind of a larger story he's telling through All-Star Batman. The series as a whole has just been kind of home run after home run after home run of Scott and his collaborators taking on sort of different takes on different iconic Batman villains. So the whole series is fantastic. Art is incredible all across the line, and I think it's worth a look.
All right.
Ryan, back to you.
My next one is Akira by Katsuhiro Otomo. It's one of my favorite comics of all time. So I pulled it because I just like to hold it because it's really big and heavy. But most of you are familiar with it. It was a very popular anime that he made while the manga was in production, actually. So the manga starts before the films, story-wise, and then ends the final few books are after the storyline and the film ends. So it makes a lot more sense than the movie does, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But the technical drawing of vehicles and buildings is so unbelievably detailed and logical and just amazing. But then all the figure work, there's lots of action sequences, tons and tons of action sequences, people flying around, and it feels very organic. So you've got this great mix of organic, great action with super technical drawings of technology, and it just is pretty much perfect.
Did you know I met him once?
Really?
I did. It was when my Oni Press series, Letter 44, was an official selection at the Festival of Angoulême in Angoulême,
Yep.
France. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yep. And so he was being honored, I believe, a Lifetime Achievement Award, and so he was at the banquet or whatever, so I got to meet him and had a picture taken
So you've
with him.
seen him eat?
I've seen him eat.
Oh, man.
I've seen him eat.
That's what I've always wanted.
Yeah. So I guess the moral is read Letter 44. That's the moral.
Okay. Yeah. What did he eat? Did you pay attention to that?
No, I was just enraptured.
Okay.
Just
great.
enraptured.
Great. Thank you.
The next pick on my pull list is the first issue of Met Cadet U, which is written by Greg Pak and drawn by Takeshi Miyazawa. They've worked together before on other projects, I believe, but this is an all-new book about this young fellow right in the middle there, who is Met Cadet U, and his giant robot friend. It is an all-ages book that is super good and super cool, and it feels like, I don't know, to me it feels like one of those cartoons that we would watch when we were a kid, like, I don't know, like your Voltron or whatever.
It's like a Mazinger Z or,
yeah,
sure.
just sort of you can feel this deep mythology behind the robot kid adventures, but it's also very, like, sweet and good and nice, and it's a heck of a debut, and I think it's worth a look.
Awesome. That robot looks really big. It's got big robots in it.
Teeny tiny child.
Really?
Yep, size of an apple.
Okay.
Size of an apple.
Now you got me.
Yep.
That's a good hook.
Yep.
My final book that I ripped off the shelves and I'm not going to buy because I already own is Next Wave from Marvel Comics. And this came out 15 years ago, maybe. And it is by Stuart Immonen, did amazing art, and Warren Ellis wrote it, and I think Dave McCaig did colors. The colors, I bought it for the colors. I'm a big color guy, which is weird that I have this book, which is not in
Black
color.
and white.
But I can make concessions every once in a while. But it's basically, they took a bunch of Marvel heroes that weren't really being used, and they just made them really irresponsible jerks. So it's kind of like Seinfeld with punching, really, and super spandex people.
It was there was nothing like it.
It's really absurdist.
Completely
It's very
bizarre.
reminiscent of one of my other most influential books is Scud the Disposable Assassin by Rob Schraub. But they were doing it with kind of like neon colors, and I don't know. It was really interesting to see superheroes played for comedy, which wasn't happening much at that time, and not only being played for comedy, but they're all kind of terrible people.
Yep.
And
You know what that actually reminds me of quite a bit?
Huh.
The Image series Curse Words.
This book, Curse
Yeah.
Words.
Well, yes, the premise of Curse Words is that you have a wizard who comes from a sort of a dark fantasy realm where everything's gone very wrong. So it's like a place where, like Lord of the Rings, but Sauron won, or Voldemort wins in Harry Potter, and that's where the wizard comes from. His name is Wizord, Wizard the Wizard. Yeah, it's that kind of book.
Yeah, with an O.
Yeah, with an O. So he shows up in New York City one day, and he starts he starts casting spells for money. He opens an office in an office building, and he does spells for dough. So everybody's very excited, right? Because we don't have any wizards, so it's neat to have one around. But then things start to take a dark turn as people realize that he actually is a bad guy, and it goes south, goes to hell pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but the reason I thought of it when we were talking about Next Wave is that it takes dark fantasy tropes and looks at them through sort of a comedic lens. I mean, the book is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so
I
funny.
think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a koala in it who is Wizard's friend named Margaret. And is that why you're wearing a koala on your head?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I've read curse words. I didn't want to interrupt you when you were talking about it. I knew all that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, so Curse Words is obviously our new image series. We're very happy with it, very proud of it. And I think you can see a lot of the older books that we talked about here on our pull list are influence Curse Words in a big way. So.
Oh, yeah. I think every book that I just showed you, a piece of that goes into what I put into curse words.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So there's our pull list.
Yep.